Hi everyone and welcome to the WYLDE Academy powered by Virgin, where today we are joined by Pacbull, professional Rainbow Six Siege player. Pacbull, how's things?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. That couldn't have been more awkward, could it? But that's what these interviews are all about. So I guess what we're here to do today is to just talk a little bit about Pacbull's career, what's going on here at WYLDE and what the future looks like. So first off, Pacbull, we're getting very close to the LCQs after a pretty good stage, right? You made the playoffs again. What are your thoughts overall about how the season's gone?
Honestly, although we still haven't made it to the major, we're pretty pleasantly surprised. You know, we came to the season with hopes, but we weren't sure how it was going to go. It was the debut season for 4 players on the roster, as I'm sure a lot of people know, and that can always go one of two ways. You know, you can either have people come in and be really nervous, or people come in and try to prove themselves and show that they deserve to be here. And I think it was the latter for us. So I'm really proud of everyone. We haven't made it yet to the major. We still have LCQs to go through. We need to win 3 games, but we're hopeful that we can make it happen.
Obviously, new addition to the coaching staff is Nello. Nello having one of the most storied careers as a player inside of Europe. How's he been in that coaching role for the team so far?
I think he's done a great job. Like a lot of coaches in Siege, just because of how young Siege is as a game compared to games maybe like CS, a lot of coaches don't have that player experience, and I think it's kind of needed. You see in traditional sports that almost every manager or coach has some playing experience, and I think Nello having that experience just makes him set apart from the rest, basically.
And in the last kind of 2 years now, you've been playing at the tier 1 level for a while. What's it actually been like for you playing at this level? Because obviously the whole ecosystem has changed lately. There's not as many games in a calendar year as there used to be. How do you feel you've improved as a player just playing involved in tier 1?
I think over the last couple of years, the biggest thing I've kind of been improving at, and might sound like simplistic or stupid, but it's just my maturity as a player. I think I came into EUL when I was 18 maybe, or 19, I'm not sure. I think it was just before I turned 19. So I was pretty new to this whole thing. I'm now about to turn 23. I know I'm not the oldest guy in the world yet, but I think I've gained a lot of just basically maturity, and I think that helps dealing with the ups and downs of esports, because esports is a pretty much a roller coaster. You never know what's going to be, what your life is going to be like even in a month from now. So I think just kind of maturing and handling the pressure of esports, handling the ups and downs, like I said, is kind of something that I've improved in a lot.
You mentioned at the start of the season that it's a debut for 4 players coming into it. Lots of people in the community were questioning decisions for that. Maybe kind of counter you guys out early. You've had a lot of fans grow across the season because of massive results in the opening day against BDS, how that went. How has it been to kind of prove people wrong about what this team can do?
So I've seen the doubters throughout my whole career, so it's nothing new to me. People doubting that either my team's going to do good, or people doubting just teams in general. Anytime someone sees a new project, there's always people that are hating on it or doubting that it's going to do good. So I don't really let that get to me, to be honest. I just focus on myself, focus on the team, and when you start doing good, even after 1 or 2 games, people change their minds quick. So people in esports, fans are pretty quick to sometimes change their views. So I think it's important just that I don't let it get to me.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the scene overall, but I suppose the next thing is about the team itself, right? So you said yourself, you're not even old, you're 23, but you and Nello are kind of the experienced heads, him being a former player as well. What's it kind of like being, I suppose, looked up to by the younger teammates? Because Croxon's obviously pretty young, Freck is too, you've always got Dodo's come up from the academy team. What's it like to you now, kind of having to take on that more senior role as well?
I think it's come pretty naturally to me, just because in the past I was IGL on most of my teams, and that kind of naturally puts you in a captaincy kind of role. And while I'm not IGL on the current lineup, Leighton is our IGL, I think that's kind of prepared me for any kind of added pressure. I don't think it's had any meaningful impact on how I've been feeling or how I've been playing. I think if there has been any expectations from my teammates, it hasn't affected me, I don't think, in any way, and I hope that my teammates do feel comfortable looking up to me not as a player, but as someone that can basically lead them.
You've had that run to the grassroots system from UK, and you've played in the Italian Cup. You've played it over in Mexico as well at times. How has it been now? You've landed at WYLDE, and how have things been here? Because you've had a pretty storied career for a young player so far with your grassroots experience. How is it in this system now?
So obviously, I've been playing outside of Europe. I've been playing outside of the UK and Ireland circuit for a long time. It's nice to kind of have a team, have an organization that's kind of more local to me. I can come down here, for example, to the WYLDE Academy anytime I need to, anytime I want to, anytime that something needs to be done within the org. And it's nice to kind of have an org that can feel more homely, not just no shade to my previous orgs, but if sometimes org can feel more like a business than a club kind of feeling, which I think is important to have that kind of sense of community. It kind of builds a good connection, I think, and makes you feel more safe, because esports is kind of notoriously unsecure, basically, or insecure, if that's the better word.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have some sort of feeling of familiarity.
Yeah.
That's a hard word to say.
That's the right word, though. It's the right word. So I'm glad you brought up Ireland and, NI and the UK as a whole, because to be honest, esports on this island in particular is really in its infancy. Like, you look all around, you talk to people and you say, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm an esports, and they kind of say, yeah, but what do you do for a living? People don't realize that it's a career, and which is nuts, because there's world champion players in other esports from Ireland, and we don't advertise it enough. But for you, being from NI and being from this island, what's it kind of like working in esports full time, and how have you kind of dealt with friends and family and stuff with tell them this is what I do for a living and this is kind of what I want to do for the next few years?
Yeah, so I think pretty much all my friends, even before I was involved in esports, they all knew what it was, just because it's our generation. But it's when I start talking to people, and it doesn't need to be people way older, even just like a couple of years older, and people start not being familiar with esports, basically. And yeah, there's always a bit of a tough curve explaining what esports is. Even with my parents, they're like really supportive with me now. My whole family is, but in the beginning, when I told them I was playing competitions and stuff, they thought it was basically just well, a whole lot of nothing. And I think it was when I went to my first LAN in Manchester with the UK Prem. I think that's when they kind of realized, like, oh, this is an actual thing. They came with me and they got to watch from the crowd and basically see that this isn't just playing video games in your room all day. It's a little bit of a step above that.